Welcome to a new episode of the podcast WIZLAnd. Happy to be with you guys today. So today, guys, we're going to talk about a topic that I'm pretty passionate about. And if you already saw the title, you already know what this podcast is going to be about today. So as a head coach, my duty to the team is to make the best team out there. In the same sense, the main reason I became a head coach is to kind of guide these players so I can put them in the best position possible so they can continue their career outside of high school. When I was in high school, I wish there was someone, or if I wish my coach or anyone will kind of like guide me through a process where I can actually put myself in the best position possible. Having said that, I'm going to say this out the bat. Talent alone does not make you and will not give you an opportunity to play in the United States. Let me explain what that means. Soccer, football here in the United States is not one of the main sports. It is not a priority. If you want to play football/soccer here in the United States, you will have to pay to play. For myself, I come from a kind of poor background in the sense that there wasn't no extra money to do any activities. We only had the basics. We had a roof over our heads. Our mom made sure that she took care of us with the things that we needed, but that was it. She definitely believed that education was the path for success here in the United States, and for some it is, but when you're a guy that wants to become a soccer player, it is pretty difficult to kind of reach that dream if you don't have anyone on your day-to-day basis walking you through the process. One of the main things that I want to share with you guys, and I've been thinking about this, the main reason I wanted to share this podcast is because soccer season is around the corner here in the States. Obviously, the main leagues in the world have already started. But if you're a high school player, or if you're a player that already started their season within the club, these are things that you should already kind of be implementing. The sooner you start implementing these things within your game, within your lifestyle, the more opportunity you will be giving yourself to reach that next level. For whatever reason, when we don't have people guiding us around us, that are guiding us to become that professional player that we dream of being, the journey is gonna be pretty difficult. And even if you have some success within your games, you're going to think that you're succeeding just because you're getting that kind of in real time result. But I did learn a lot from the aspect of me going my 4 years or the 3 years that I played in a competitive sport in varsity and going through the leagues, getting to a finals and things of that nature. Within that 3 years that I developed my game and I became better, became the best player within the team, I was thinking because I was getting those results, and I was thinking because I was like killing it in Sunday League against adults that are way older than me, that I was succeeding. Me not only killing it in the Sunday League, killing it in the high school league, killing it in killing it in the club. Me being productive, doing what I needed to do, scoring goals in all these different teams, and being successful and winning games and things of that nature, that gave me the perceived vision that I was actually doing what I need to do. But to be honest, guys, in the United States, if it's not just about talent, and I think that's one of the main things that I want to share with you guys. If you're looking at this video, you're watching this, if you're 12 years old, 15 years old, 17 years old, 19, 21, it doesn't matter where you're at in your career. The younger you start thinking about these things, the younger you start implementing certain things that I will talk about in this video, the better it's going to be for you. Because for me, I wish I would have done this after analyzing the last 15 years of me playing the sport. I analyzed not 15 years. I played maybe over about 20 years. So I probably started playing around 13 years old. And after that, I actually, because my mom never allowed me to play sports when I was young. Because when I was young, I had difficulties with asthma and things of that nature. But that was more so of a product of my environment, more so than just because I was sick. But the thing is that, excuse me. The thing is that if you start implementing these things that I will talk about in this video, I promise you that you will be putting yourself in a better position than the kids that are not doing these things. So the first thing is going to be that I'm going to talk about is filming, recording every single game you play. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what stage, what type of game it is, but record everything. And if you don't have anyone to record it, maybe get someone that will help you in that aspect. I think that was the biggest mistake I did in my entire career as an athlete, where I did not emphasize this to anyone, or I didn't even share this thought with anyone. When you're starting off, the more film you have of your game, of yourself, not only will you have feedback on how you play that game, but also if you had a really good game, you're going to be able to use that footage for a reel that might get you in places that other players that don't have that reel might get you in. The thing is that nowadays, with social media, which is pretty much normal now, it's easier for you guys to actually create footage of your games. If you're not doing that, you need to. I've seen 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds already recording their games, not only because their parents understand that aspect of the game now, but also because they want to record those games. You have to understand that when you're going to apply into college, which is the next level from high school, unless you're already in an academy, that's going to be your next step. You're going to have to go to high school, and then you're going to have to go to college. If you're planning on going to college, the only way that you're going to put yourself in the radar of scouts, of college coaches and things of that nature, is by you having something that you can show to them of your skills. So that's the main thing. I wish I had any or some type of footage of my games, because I would have been able to use that to put me in a school and I could actually play ball, And I think that while I did had 2 opportunities to go play, I had one in Oklahoma and I had another one in New Mexico, I didn't do it because of this reason that I will share with you guys next. And understand that this is based on your, if you're from the States, this is something you got to really understand. Because sometimes when you're just playing the game, nobody's really talking about the details of you playing the game. Nobody's talking about the things that you're going to need in order to get to that next level. And my duty, and that's the main reason I became a coach, like I said at the beginning, is for me to relate this information to my players. So if they want to get to that next level, they have the opportunity, and they can create that opportunity for themselves. So that's the first thing. Record every single game that you can of yourself. Create a reel. From that footage, you're going to create a reel that is going to be kind of your resume, your visual resume, for you to actually, show off your skills. If you're a striker, how many goals you're scoring within the season, how you're scoring these goals. If you're a midfielder, your touch, your ability to get the ball back, your ability to create plays, your ability to not only create plays, communicate, move the ball around, control the pace of the game, things of that nature. So if you're a defender, your positioning, how tough are you? What happens when you lose the ball? Are you a player that just chills and kind of gets in their head and then just allows the player to continue? Or you're somebody that loses the ball, gets back, and gets the ball back? So those things coaches do look into from different players. And those things are the things that you should be showing off as a player. So when you record your games, make sure that you get in the best place for yourself, so you can show off your skills. The second thing I want to share with you guys is grades. Me, when I was back in high school, I didn't care about my grades. I always did the bare minimum for me to be able to pass so I could play. I was uninterested about school. And I know a lot of kids are like that. But the thing is that if you don't have good grades, schools on the next level, are pretty much going to overlook you. Not because you're not a good player, but because your grades are a representation of who you are as a person. The thing about these schools here in the United States, unless you're playing academy is a whole different level that I don't want to get into, because I tried to go to an academy and just the price was ridiculous. There's no way in hell I could have afforded that. And it was just something I couldn't take. I mean, I probably would have been able to join it if I had the money, but I don't even want to get to that. But if you're playing high school and you're not taking your student athlete status serious, then schools will not take you serious. And as bad as that might sound, is reality. The schools nowadays are looking for players that they don't have to worry about their grades. If you don't have good grades, that means that you might not be eligible for them to play you. And on top of that, if they give you a scholarship, they're risking their program, and they're risking your position. They're risking a position on you that they might be able to use on someone else that have really good grades. So you have to think about it in that manner. You're competing against other players that have good grades. So think about it in this way. Let's say you're a very good striker in your school. You're the best striker in your zone, in your school, whatever the case is. And let's say you live somewhere in California. So within your region, you're one of the best players ever at that moment in time. So there's 2022, you're the current best striker in your region. But your grades are, let's say, it's 70s. You have a C. Your GPA is about 2.5. So you don't have you don't have the best grades. You're doing enough to pass and for you to play. But let's say you go to someone in Florida, and he's the best player in that region as well. But he might not be based on stats. Let's say he does not have as much competition, but based on his stats, he's really good. He has good enough skills to be that coaches can see that he has good enough skills for him to compete on the next level. But for whatever reason, the California kid is so much better because it's pretty obvious his talent is there. And he has better stats. But this guy in Florida has good stats, but his GPA is a 4 point whatever, right? It's a really good GPA. He has really good stats. Who do you think they're going to take? You might think maybe the kid from California because he has so much skills or whatever the case is. But no, that's not true. Unless this guy is a number 5 recruit or whatever the case is, this kid from Florida is going to get the offer, not because he's so much better, just because he's great. And keep in mind that coaches have a budget of the amount of athletic scholarships that they can give you. So when you go ahead and actually are making good grades, you might be able to afford the whole school based on your athletic, not on, I'm sorry, based on your school scholarship compared to your athletic scholarship. So that might be a plus for somebody that has good grades. That the coaches will not have to go into their budget and use athletic scholarship money on you because you can afford and you qualify for your academic scholarships. So those things, when I was in high school, I had no idea that things worked that way. I was very much blinded to that aspect of the game because nobody talks about that. Back in the day, also, you didn't have social media as much as you have it now. We did have social media. Things were starting to happen, but you didn't have so much content as you have now in social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on all these different platforms. You didn't have the information that you have now. So there's no reason you shouldn't be using that social media help for you to put yourself in a better position. So knowing that information, you have to worry about your grades. You have to focus within your grades, about your grades. You have to maybe not take grades as a step for you unless you really want to, right? So if you want to continue your career as an athlete, as a soccer player here in the United States, that is a way for you to continue on. It's for you to, and these are things that you have control over. So these are the things that I wanted to share because you as a player have control over these things. The fact that you can get somebody to record you, that can be your uncle, that can be your dad, your mom, that can be your sister, your brother, your older brother. And you, as long as you're getting footage, you're going to be pretty much probably at the 10% of all athletes here in the United States. On top of that, you control how much effort you put into having good grades. Yeah, some things might be difficult, but if you are having a hard time with particular subjects, you have tutorials. So that's the thing. It's like you have control over these things. So there's no reason you shouldn't be trying to get better at these things. So that's that. So the number one, obviously, record yourself, get footage of yourself. Number two, control the amount of effort and how serious you take your grades, because that is going to help you to get to that next level. Number three, distractions. This is going to be the killer for most of you, distractions. And nowadays is even more difficult because you have social media, because maybe you have video games, you want to be a gamer too. You want to have a YouTube, whatever the case is, right? But social media is one of the main reasons and one of the main things you have to avoid if you want to become a pro athlete in soccer, or if you want to continue your career as a soccer player beyond just playing club in high school, or beyond just playing in high school soccer or club soccer. If you really want to get to that next level, you're going to have to cancel these things out. Distractions, just coming from my point of view, for me, it was girls. I had a relationship. Before that, before even getting into a relationship, I was talking to a whole bunch of girls. I had so many distractions that did not allow me to focus solely in what was soccer. And when you're that age, you have to understand that you're competing against other people, not only within your personal aspect and your visible kind of what you can see per se. You're competing against people all over the country and all over the world. So when you have the same kid, 13-year-old kid that wants to become a professional athlete, and keep in mind, this is not promising that you will get to that next level. This is promising that you will get better and that you will put yourself in the best position possible based on your circumstance. So wherever you're starting from, This is for you to actually apply it. It is for you to actually like learn from it and actually see where you can use these things for your own life. So, and I'm pretty sure that most of these things, I mean, the only reason I'm talking about these things is because these are things that I didn't do, that I wish I would have done, that I would do if I could have an opportunity to go back in time and change things. But having no one that guided me, and that's the thing. Like, sometimes we don't have no one in our corner, and that makes it much more difficult for us to actually get to that next step because we don't know what we're doing. We might not have the maturity to take those next steps. And it's just aspect of life. You learn, you live, and then my duty is to kind of share that knowledge that I've learned through time with my next generation, with whoever's coming up. So now that you're 13, you're in high school, you're 14, you're in high school, you're a freshman, or whatever the case might be, you're currently in high school, right? I understand. You want girls, you're talking to girls, you might get introduced to even drugs, weed, all these different distractions. You want to play games. You're into TikTok, you want to do TikTok dances, you're onto all that those trends. I get it. It's part of life. And I also understand that you see professional athletes doing the same things. I want you to think about this though, because professional athletes can do whatever the fuck they want to do. Why? Because they're already in the place that you want to be at. You, on the other hand, you're not even near where they're at. When you have a young player, when you have a Erling Haaland, 22 now, 21 years old, and let's say you're 15. That's only 6 years apart. That's not that long of a time. But this kid is already fucking a professional. So you have to see, how did he become a professional? And that's the thing too. When you see these young players being put in these positions of them already being professional athletes, they're coming as the new quote unquote Ronaldo, they're comparing it to the new Messi or whatever the case might be. You have to analyze where they're coming from. You have to analyze what they did. You have to analyze what they're currently doing. You know, some of them already have parents that are within the world of football, so it's easier for them to be put on an academy, to go through the ranks, and eventually have an opportunity at the first team. Because most of the time, that's how it works. There's Ronaldo, he has a kid, he's been going through the ranks of different prestigious clubs, and eventually he's going to get an opportunity. You know, so that's how it works. But here in the United States, you have to analyze what the route of these pro athletes has been. You know, how did Dempsey become Dempsey? How did Landon Donovan become Landon Donovan? How did if you're from the United States, and if you're from the States, and I know there's a lot of people here in the United States that want to play for their nationality team, meaning from their background. So you have a lot of Mexican kids that want to play for Mexico. There's a lot of people from Colombia want to play for Colombia, even though they're born here in the United States. And I think that's one of the main reasons we have problems. That's the main reason that the United States doesn't have the best squad yet, because for whatever reason, when people come to the United States, I'm not saying this is wrong or this is right, because I'm also a Latino that was kind of raised in a Salvadorian house. So I remember when we was young, I always had that mindset that I wanted to play for the United States. But I knew other people around me that were from El Salvador. They kind of wanted to play for El Salvador, or they wanted to play for Colombia. I had friends from Colombia, and I had friends that were from Mexico. Even though they were born here, they always represent Mexico. And that's fine. I mean, you want to represent your nationality. You want to represent your background. That's perfectly fine. But reality is that based on your passport, based on your birth, you're American. So the thing is that if you're allowing distractions to get in your head, if you're not being serious about the craft. And I think one of the biggest examples of this, and the reason why he is the GOAT, or one of the GOATs, I mean, it's between Messi and Ronaldo. I don't care what anybody says. Like, some people like Ronaldo, some people like Messi, but these two players are the GOATs. Ronaldo had no females. Ronaldo was focused as a 13-year-old kid that was put apart from his family. He is the example of the type of life that you need to do and the type of commitment you need to do in order to get to that next level. If you want to be Ronaldo, you want to be as close as Ronaldo. And I'm not saying you will. You might just be the best of your potential. The best you might live up to be the best potential, the best of your style of play. And that's the thing. Like, there's never gonna be another Ronaldo. There's never gonna be another Messi. There's never gonna be another Ronaldinho. There's never gonna be another phenomenal Ronaldo. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can only be the best version of who you are. And you're going to miss that opportunity if you're not doing these things. Or if you're allowing, in this case, distractions to beat you. Distractions, like I said. So, distractions, you should honestly, try, at a young age, try to avoid girls. Try to avoid any form of serious relationships. Try to avoid video games, social media. Try to avoid wasting your time in things that are not related to football. Distractions can also be not taking the sport seriously and thinking that because you're at a certain age that you're always going to be there. You know, we don't like when we're young, we don't understand anything about time. We don't really understand how time works. We just observe around. We're just going through the motions sometimes. The next thing we know, we're graduating, and we're no longer doing anything that actually has any intention behind it. So you have to understand that those things are very important for you to go to that next level. Lastly, so this is going to be number 4. If you're not doing things outside the pitch for your particular game, you're not going to get to that next level. For me, when I was maybe 15, I was training. Yeah, I was training Monday to maybe just training. Maybe Monday, maybe once a week, training. But I was in practice, quote unquote practice, Monday through Friday. And I will play on the weekends. I'll play Saturday. We will play club. Sundays we'll have Sunday league. And then our games throughout the week, depending when our season started. This is the thing I want to share with you guys, because I don't think, and this is where myself as a coach, I am trying to be better in this aspect, because I understand that not every high school has a good soccer coach. But for me, when I took the position as a head coach last year, that's one of the things that I told myself. If you're going to take this position, you're going to guide these guys to win it. You're going to guide these guys to become better. You're going to guide them as a real team. We're going to train. We're going to do the work. We're going to develop the style of play that I want them to play like. But you're always going to get them to a position where they can actually be really good, or they can become the best potential of themselves. But that comes with training. That doesn't come with just playing. When I was in high school, all we did was scrimmage. And yeah, we wanted to scrimmage the whole time. But that's the thing. As a coach, you're supposed to be a coach. We didn't have good coaches. My 3 years in high school, I had no good coach. I remember doing limited amount of physical activity. And for whatever reason, when we actually did the physical activity was the worst timing. So we didn't really have coaches that understood the process of what it is to become an athlete. The kind of variations that you're supposed to do as a training, within your training leading up to a game. So there's no reason we should have been, for example, I remember this one game where we had not done no form of training, no form of physical training, where I'm talking about plyometrics, no type of physical running or intentional running with drills. We had not done none of that whole week. And we had a game on Friday, but we did that on Thursday. So the next day, most of us were like, we had the worst game ever. I remember being so sore that I was literally forcing my body to kind of run. But I was so sore. And we ended up losing that game, I believe, 6-1, 6-2. It was a really bad experience. But that's the coach's fault. We wanted, and that's the thing, when you're a player, you're thinking that the people that are put in these positions are worth being in that position. And sometimes you as a player don't know that sometimes these people have not coached, or they don't even know what they're doing, or all these different things. So me as myself, I told myself that if I was going to take a coaching position, I was going to teach myself these things. I was going to refresh all these things. I was going to allow myself to get back to the game entirely. And the good thing is that I share with my players, hey, look, I haven't coached in a very long time, but my interest is to get you guys in the best position possible. I'm not here for a paycheck. I'm here to guide you guys. And I made that very much clear with everyone in the team when I joined them. And the thing is that up to this point, it's worked. I know last year for myself, I didn't have the best probably year in regards to kind of understanding and getting a grasp of the entire situation. But we ended up winning our final within district. So we became regional champions. We went to state. We lost some PKs. For the first season, I wasn't happy. But I was very proud of how the team came together, became a family. The chemistry grew extremely fast. Our first 2 games we lost 1-0 both games. After that, we literally did not lose into that semifinals. So we went on a 9-game winning streak. We didn't lose the game after the first 2 losses. The team became very much strong. They all became together. They all got along pretty well. Something that at the beginning of the season they were not that good, because they were individually good, but as a team they just didn't know how to play with each other. Eventually, they learned. We got to a point where we, in training, everyone was putting the effort, everyone was putting in work, and they understood how they played with each other. So this year is going to be a whole different game. I've been looking into footage. I've been trying to see how I can get better as a coach. And the thing is, if you're not doing this as a player, that you're not putting in the effort outside of practice, you're not going to give yourself an opportunity to get to that next level. And I'm not talking about just playing, because that's one of the easiest way. That's one of the easiest ways to lose your potential. Why? Because you put yourself in a position where you're playing pickup games, you can easily get injured, because usually in these pickup games there's no referees. Usually in these pickup games you're not playing with shin guards. So you're putting yourself in a position, while this might be a good way to develop when you're younger, And I'm talking about when you're like 5, you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a good way to develop. And if you can, I would tell also your parents to put you in an indoor. Indoor is going to make you a better player. It's going to make you quick. It's going to sharpen your mindset. It's going to sharpen your reaction to the ball, how quick you move around the field, your touch. Is gonna do a lot of things for you. So if you can tell your parents, put you in indoor, do it, because it's going to help you a lot. Ronaldinho, he grew up playing indoor. The young Dino, that dude was a beast in the indoor. And then eventually he was able to translate those same skills over to the real pitch. So you have to understand that when you're not doing extra work outside your pitch, outside your practices, you're losing a big opportunity to become better. And that's something I didn't have in me. I don't want to blame that on anyone but myself. Because if you want to become an athlete, you have to treat yourself like an athlete. And I'm talking about in all aspects of life. When you're young and you want to become the best, or you want to become the best version of yourself and give yourself an opportunity to become a pro, you have to go to sleep early. You have to eat the right foods. You have to rest. You have to be able to take your training seriously. You have to avoid distractions. You have to get focused. And I think that's one of the main things that some of you guys, if you're trying to become a pro, nobody tells us. More so, they're not telling you when you're young. More so, they're not telling you, if you don't have parents that been in that type of lifestyle, if they're not athletes themselves, if they've never been in that position where they're being athletes, and you want to become a pro, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to become a pro. Not saying that it cannot happen, but it's going to be pretty difficult. So the reason I'm making this video, the reason I'm creating this podcast for you, is because I need you to take these things seriously. And I'm telling you to take it as I'm an older brother of yours. This is what I would tell my younger brother. Or this is what I would tell my kid if I had a kid. You want to become a professional athlete, you have to stay committed. You have to avoid distractions. You have to do the most that you can do on your own, and I'll help you. And that's the thing, that you have to do the most. And I think when people around you start seeing what you're doing, when people around you start seeing that you're taking this thing seriously, you're eating right. You don't want to be out. You want to get focused in soccer. All they see is you looking at soccer film. All they're seeing is how do you get better. They see you tracking your input. They're seeing you're tracking your stats. You're recording your stuff. You're editing your stuff. You're doing everything you can do to become the best professional or athlete that you can become. People around you start noticing, and they're gonna try to help you. And I think that that's one of the main things that I missed when I was a younger version of myself. And these are the things that I would tell myself now, because if you want to become a pro, it's not gonna be given to you. And more so here in the States, soccer is not a priority sport, at least not yet. Maybe 20 years, but not yet. It is getting more traction, but it's not going to be an overnight thing. You have to allow yourself to, and I think that while a lot of people say that the States is pretty hard to make it, and it's a pay-play system, I also believe it's a big opportunity for players that do these things, because since it is not a priority sport, people don't care about it. But they have to fill in positions. Every year there has to be a position filled. So it's your duty to put yourself in a position where you're giving yourself opportunities. Understand that maybe if you don't make it to the MLS your first year out of college, doesn't mean your career is over. There's other divisions within the United States bracket. You can go abroad as well. You can give yourself different opportunities. There's trials. So nowadays, you can actually reach out to actual agents directly through Instagram, directly through LinkedIn. You can reach out to different coaches if they're looking. There's so many ways you can put yourself in a position to succeed, but it's on you to do it. And I think that as I continue this podcast, the more information that I will be putting out for you guys to actually follow, apply it, and see if it works out for you. Because I was really thinking about what kind of what kind of thing that I wanted to do with the podcast. Yeah, I want to talk about all these different things, but I do believe that at this point on, I'm just gonna focus within football/soccer, just because it is something that I'm very passionate about. It is something I'm currently going 100% at in my personal life, just because I am a coach. I am a head coach. I interact with my players pretty frequently, and it's something I enjoy. I enjoy playing the sport. I've been out the game prior to being a coach. I was out the game for about 6-7 years, because I said I was not gonna go back to the game unless there was a real reason for it. And that means I quit playing it. I quit watching it. I quit even thinking about it, or entertaining the idea of even playing pickup games. I just quit, because my purpose prior to that was to become a pro athlete. I wasn't able to attain it, but I was able to analyze why I wasn't able to attain it. And these are the reasons why. I wasn't focused. I didn't want to put the extra training. I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was going to be given to me. I didn't think that I needed to record anything. I believe that coaches will come out and watch me and scout me, and all these different things. So I definitely understood why I didn't make it, and also didn't want to continue to pursue the dream because it was going to take a lot of effort off of me. And so I decided not to keep doing it. When I really tried to do it, when I really tried to make it, I went and tried out at the LA2 Galaxy. I went and tried out different club teams. And the thing is, when I tried out for the LA Galaxy, that was kind of marked it for me. More so because I was kind of seeing, I saw who got picked for open, like an invite, and it was only high school kids. At that point, I was about 22 years old. So when I tried out, I was 22, and it's like it was only high school kids. So it was like 4 years, and I think that I kind of made it pretty much clear. I already knew what I missed. I already knew where the opportunity I missed, because prior to that I could have played college and I didn't do it because I wasn't willing to take that making that sacrifice of going and moving to Oklahoma, trying to commit a year there and then eventually use as leverage to play somewhere else. I didn't have that mindset that I can see now from a different perspective. But the thing is that after all of that, I was able to analyze what went wrong in that journey. And that's why now I'm making a video like this, because I've been through the struggle. I've been through the things. I've been through the fuck ups. I fucked up so many different things. And if you're 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, even 23 years old, even 25, like, nowadays, players are playing so much longer, so it's on you to actually put yourself in a position to succeed. I'm telling you, if you're a very good player by the age of 25 and you don't have a club, you can still make it. It's going to be a struggle, but if you're healthy, you don't have injuries, you don't have a history of big injuries, you're doing what you need to do. You're creating content online. You're putting yourself in a position to be seen. More than likely you get an opportunity, because it's not easy, but the opportunities are out there. So yeah, guys, I hope you like today's episode, man. Like, I honestly hope that if you watch the entire thing through, that you put to use these things, man. And it's never too late to start these things, because the earlier you start, the better you're gonna be, the better you're gonna get at it, the better you're gonna get at being a better player, the better you're going to become, not even just on the pitch, but outside the pitch. A lot of players don't do these things. I don't know what it is. Like, I know for a lot of Latino kids, we think that our talent is good enough. Not here, man. Like, anywhere. A lot of Latino kids don't get taught correctly. They just think that just playing the game is enough. No. You have to put yourself in a position, and this is the thing. Like, as I got older, I really went into the details of how Cristiano Ronaldo became who he became, how Messi became who he has become. It takes a lot of work, and that's where the thing with social media doesn't get shared. A lot of people think that these players are put in these positions without work, and that's not the truth. They're not doing no fucking drugs. Ronaldo fucking drinks water religiously. He doesn't drink Coke. He doesn't drink Gatorade. He doesn't drink none of that bullshit for the most part. Doesn't drink. And if he does, it's very limited. He literally has told his kid, you better to drink no sodas. You want a Coke? Or you want to play soccer? So you have to be sometimes to that extreme to become so good. And people just don't believe that, don't think that. And sometimes that's reality. And that's what makes these professional athletes who they are compared to the other ones, you know? And that's something that I really want to emphasize in the video. If you want to become a professional athlete, and maybe if you're watching this and you watch this far, and you're not a soccer player, but for whatever reason you stayed all the way to the end, you want to become a pro athlete, football player, basketball player, whatever the case might be, baseball player. What are you doing outside of the pitch? What are you doing outside the field? What is it that gives you an advantage? Sometimes talent is not enough. Sometimes your traits, being tall, being strong, they might take you to the league, but they're gonna really keep you there. And that's the thing, you know. So yeah, guys, I hope you liked today's video. If you did, subscribe. I will be putting out more content about football/soccer. And I'm very much looking forward to the World Cup because I will be doing a breakdown of who I believe is going to win it. We're going to do our predictions soon. We're also going to talk about what's going on in the Premier League, in La Liga, in Serie A, even in Mexican soccer, man. Like, I grew up watching Mexican soccer. And I grew up a Toluca fan, Diablos Rojos. That time when that back in the daytime where Cardoso, Vicente Sanchez, Ciña, Cristante. If you're into soccer, trust me, I have a lot of knowledge, man. It's gonna be fun. This podcast is gonna get fun, man, because I am allowing myself to embrace the whole soccer thing and really talk about all the information that I have in my head. And I can definitely give some insight about things that are going on, things that are going on in PSG. If everybody knows what's going on, but I have a pretty different side, kind of side in seeing what things are going on. I did do a video about PSG and what's wrong with them right now. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and click the link on the top. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate you. If you're a player watching this, hey, wish you good luck in this season. I myself are gonna hold tryouts within the next 2 weeks. So I'm about to run tryouts on the 5th and 6th of October. I'm very much looking forward to that because I'm kind of thinking that it's gonna be about 60 to 80 kids coming out. It might be even less, but last year, my first year, I had about 60 kids coming out. This year, anything less than that will be good, but who knows? It might be more. So I honestly don't know. But yeah, guys, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Peace.